can kind of have some instrumental and voices coming in and out and maybe round. I don't know. I just have this image of this weaving that somehow is sound. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. So that's the first half. Ding, 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 ding. And then it goes to the next. So let's just try that first chunk. Here we go. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Then the next phrase starts on I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Hello. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. We are so glad you have chosen to join us in worship. Please see our website, uuamherst.org, or the emailed weekly update for opportunities to connect and to grow your soul. We light this candle as a symbolic act to establish a time in our week when rituals have meaning, stories tell the truth, and the Spirit speaks louder than words of the transcendent mystery of creation and our place in the universe. Our opening prayer comes from Sounds of the Eternal, a Celtic Psalter by John Philip Newell. Early in the morning, we seek your presence, O God, not because you are ever absent from us, but because often we are absent from you at the heart of each moment where you forever dwell. In the rising of the sun, in the unfolding color and shape of the morning, open our eyes to the mystery of this moment, that in every moment we may know your life-giving presence. Open our eyes to this moment, that in every moment we may know you as the one who is always now. I have long wanted to do a service that focuses on music. Probably no big surprise for those of you who know me and know that one of my primary ways of communicating is through song. So much music lends itself to spiritual truths, and song lists for every possible topic reside in my mental Rolodex. I had thought perhaps a service that chronicled my spiritual development through hymns would be interesting and fun. It would give me an excuse to sing some of those beloved old powerhouse hymns with the theology I now find questionable. Fountains filled with blood? Maybe not. Each time I sat down to weave together a service of my favorite songs, it made me squeamish. I wanted to share the joy and deep meaning of music as a spiritual endeavor without turning it into the Michelle show. Making music was my first path of ministry, as a small group of friends shared our faith through song throughout our teen years. What became the most meaningful part was how the music touched those listening, not how we musicians felt communicating the message. Raised in a biblical Christian tradition, I can tell you that the scriptures are filled with exhortations to make music. The Psalms are probably the most familiar source, with "Sing to the Lord a new song," "Let us sing for joy to the Lord," and, of course, the 150th Psalm having the sole message of praising God through music. But there are less obvious references as well, including the prophet Amos and Paul's letters to the early churches. In Exodus, as soon as the Israelites passed through the parted waters to safety from the Egyptian army, the first thing they do is break out the tambourines and begin singing and dancing. Clearly, there is more to this music thing than just a good beat and a catchy tune. Today's service has its share of meaningful music, but the music is not the focus. It is the conduit. Our lives are filled with music, and some of that can even be put down in notation and played or sung. But most of the music of our lives is more subtle than that, and we need to tune our ears, whether physical or spiritual, to lean in and hear its strains. Our lives flow on in endless song. Listen for your own song, the deep welling up of the melody of your life. And now, our time for all ages.
Our time for all ages today is called the Lizard Song. There was a lizard who lived on a rock. He was very happy living on his rock. All day long, Lizard would sing, "Zoli, Zoli, Zoli, rock is my home. Zoli, 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 rock is my home." One day a bear saw him sitting on the rock and heard him singing. She wondered why the lizard was so happy, so she asked him, "Why are you so happy?" Lizard said that he was happy because he was at home and the rock was a great place to live. "Oh," said Bear. She went back to her home and thought, "I wish I knew that song so I would be as happy as the lizard." The next day Bear went back to Lizard's rock. She asked Lizard to teach her the song. Lizard said he would be very happy to teach it to her. He sang, "Zoli, Zoli, Zoli, rock is my home. Zoli, 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 rock is my home." That made Bear feel good again. She went home, but on the way, she forgot the song. The next day, she went back to Lizard and asked him if he would teach her the song again. Lizard said he would be very happy to teach the song again, and he sang, "Zoli, Zoli, Zoli, rock is my home. Zoli, 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 rock is my home." Again, Bear went home, and again she forgot the song. So she went back to Lizard one more time. This time, Lizard was asleep on his warm rock in the sunshine. What could Bear do? She decided to pick Lizard up and put him in a bag. Then she could take Lizard to her home. After his nap, he could teach Bear his song. On the way, Lizard woke up. He didn't know where he was. He knew he wasn't at home on his rock, and he was very scared. He didn't know what to do. he decided to sing his song so he wouldn't be frightened. He sang, "Zoli, Zoli, Zoli, rock is my home. Zoli, 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 rock is my home." When Bear got home, she opened the bag. "Where are we?" asked Lizard. "This is my home," said Bear. "I'm sorry if I scared you when I brought you here." Now Lizard saw that Bear didn't live on a rock. Now he understood why Bear couldn't learn the song. He told Bear that she couldn't learn the song because she didn't live on a rock. Bear was disappointed. But Lizard said, "I can make you a song that you can learn and remember." He sang, "Zoli, Zoli, Zoli, Den is my home. Zoli, 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 Den is my home." Bear learned that song very easily, and she was very happy. The end.
Several years ago, I read an interesting article about why, even in this age of projected music, we need hymnals. The article came to mind 2 weeks ago as a couple of our youth helped me to gather and box away the hymnals in our chapel. I felt a melancholy as we handled each book, thinking about the beloved hands who had held them before us and the swell of voices raised in song, and how that experience has been closed to us for the foreseeable future. For a few years now, we've been projecting lyrics on a screen so our heads aren't buried in books, and we can sing out and actually see one another. But we always had the option to open a book and read ahead to make sure we agreed with the lyrics, or to test our mettle in adding harmony. During this pandemic pause, group singing is not something we can do. And as we strive to keep our spaces safe for recording services, we boxed the hymnals to protect them from the spray of sanitizers. What is so important about our hymnals? Is it only the nostalgia of times gone by? The article I read, penned by a Unitarian Universalist, proposed that what makes our hymnals, our gathered songs and readings, so important is that they capture our theology. They help us name and lift up that which is of ultimate importance to us. I have a collection of Unitarian and Universalist hymnals, and oh, the story they tell. The oldest book I have is the 1914 Hymn and Tune Book with Services. We would have some trouble working with this edition, and not only because the tunes are on one portion of the page with lyrics in a lump underneath. The structure of the services is very prescriptive, I suppose making it possible to attend any Unitarian church in the land and get the same basic message. At the time, our theology was most definitely progressive Christian, and we would now likely stumble over references to God as Father and Lord. The other Unitarian and Universalist hymnals in my collection have copyright dates of 1924, 1935, 1947, and 1964. And with each new edition, they tell a story of an evolving faith tradition, deeply influenced by its Christian past, and yet leaning into humanism and religious pluralism. The songs and readings shifted. The music of the beginnings of the combined faith, Unitarian Universalism, begins to shine in the 1964 Hymns for the Celebration of Life. Hymns and readings now were contained in separate areas of the book, making creative arrangement and selections for services possible. Our music tells the story of our evolution. I remember when the current Gray hymnal was released in 1993. We opened the boxes and smelled that wonderful new book aroma. The bindings creaked a bit as we opened them to flutter through the pages. Although I had been a UU for a couple years at that point, I had still been struggling to find myself as part of the community. Most of the congregation leaned toward secularism, and I was still wrestling with my lost Christian identity. As I flipped the pages, my eyes were arrested by Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Oh my, what a wondrous thought. I flipped to the front, to the hymns. For the earth forever turning, for the skies, for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. A faith that included the earth, not as something separate from myself, but deeply woven into my soul. Ah, who could imagine? And then the song that is quite possibly the most universally loved in our faith movement. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hands giving life the shape of justice. Roots, hold me close, wings, set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. So much freedom, so much connection, roots and wings, justice and compassion. In the flipping of just a few pages, I realized that maybe I could make a home here. I had found a place to belong. Sometimes, if we are very lucky, we find the music that sings us. If you've ever experienced the quiet thrill of being overtaken by a piece of music, you know what it means to have music sing you. If you've ever had the experience of listening to a song and feeling validated or understood, you've been sung. Growing up, my family were huge Neil Diamond fans. I can still pretty much sing along to the Greatest Hits album without skipping a lyric. Although I'm pretty sure the intent behind the lyrics to his song, Play Me, is more about romantic love, The essence of being deeply known invites a fuller meaning. You are the sun, I am the moon. You are the words, I am the tune. Play me. This sentiment is not so different from that expressed by the Sufi mystic and poet Rumi, as he describes the relationship with the divine beloved. The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. The search for the source of life is not one outside of ourselves, but one that takes us deeply inward. Our lives flow on in endless song, rooting us, sweeping us along, inviting us to explore and evolve. Not every song is a triumphant herald, nor is it all sad ballads or corny show tunes. Our lives flow on in endless song above earth's lamentation. We still find joy in the midst of sorrow. We pour out love from places of pain. The love that holds us will not let us go. Let's pause for a time of reflection and meditation.
You are the sun, I am the dew, gifted with life for a moment or two, that I for my time may sparkle and shine. Oh sun, come fill me with you. Oh sun, come fill me with you. You are the wind, I am the sail. You are my strength, and without you I fail. Breathe but a sigh, and I'll open wide. Oh wind, come fill me with you. Oh wind, come fill me with you. You are the wine, I am the cup. I can yield nothing till I am filled up. Hold me upright and pour forth your life. Oh wine, come fill me with you. Oh wine, come fill me with you. Oh wine, come fill me. Oh wind, come fill me. Oh sun, come fill me with you.
So far, the endless song we've explored has been pretty literally about music, how it affects us, defines us, and carries us through our lives. Music has been called the universal language, and with good reason. Our individual tastes in what makes up good music may vary, but its impact on human culture seems to know no limit. Unlike other written languages, which must be learned individually, or if they share enough grammatical elements, perhaps as a category, as in Romance languages, the written language of music transcends borders. Obviously, not all cultures necessarily use musical notation, but if they do, it's the same in Russia as it is in Brazil, as it is, well, everywhere the notation is used. I find that to be an inspiring idea. Various cultures may have different criteria for what makes good music, but they can share the means of communicating that music. What if we could do that with concepts like peace and universal love? Why can't we? I'll leave you to ponder that, as there is one more place I'd like you to go in the conversation before we close our time together. This past Monday was a perfect early fall day here in the Buffalo area. The air was crisp and cool, the sun warm with just the right angle to bring out the shadows of leaves and dappled light. After too much time spent indoors, I decided it was time to take my soul for a walk, and my soul and I went to Rhinestein Woods. The woods were blessedly quiet, and I purposely slowed my steps, not intent on a particular path or pace. Peering through some brush to a clearing, I saw 3 deer quietly feeding. I stood and watched for a while, listening to the approaching sound of a family of humans, skipping and giggling. As they rounded the corner, I put my finger to my lips, hoping that the children might get a glimpse of the deer in such close proximity. The children immediately quieted and began to creep closer. I nodded encouragingly, and as they came close, pointed through the brush where one of the deer still stood, just about 20 feet away. Children and deer were equally curious, and held one another's gaze for several seconds before the deer wandered off. The little girl's eyes were bright as she whispered excitedly to her parents. I realized that that moment just might be one of those when the music of the living world began a love story about connection and discovery. A little further along the path, I moved off to a narrow deer path to peer at one of the lily pad-choked ponds. As I contemplated what the impact of these pink blooms might be on the life of the pond, I noticed the great blue heron preening itself less than 20 feet away. I stood. My breathing had deepened and my heart felt calm. All of the tasks that had been vying for my attention seemed to recede, and I tuned into the music around me. The family of ducks, the fall of a pine cone. Not only was my own life flowing along in endless song, but I was part of a larger song, a deep thrumming of life and possibility. As I mused about the music that surrounds us, the music that will never be jotted down in notation to be repeated by clarinets and violins, a sudden clattering to my left announced the arrival of a surprised fawn leaping onto the path just in front of me. We stared at one another, and I kept very still, not knowing if Mama was just behind and if I would be considered a threat. The fawn, still with fading spots along its back, wandered away, apparently accepting me as part of the music of the place. As I continued my walk, I meditated on the beauty and life that had unfolded before me. I had done nothing to make these encounters happen or to deserve them. All I had done was place myself in the flow of my life, listening to my soul's need to go to the woods for restoration and connection. All I had done was to say yes and to invite the spirit to play me. You see, the hills are alive with the sound of music. That phrase from a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical escapes sentimentality because it is fundamentally true. Wherever we find ourselves, life invites us to participate in the music all around us. There is music flowing around and through us. The music of the whisper of the breeze, a trickle of water, even the whine of a siren. All we need to do is to place ourselves in the midst of that flow and to let it wash away anything that is not love. Then we'll discover our own song. I offer you now this musical interlude from the awesome Matt Meyer, a Unitarian Universalist percussionist and song leader. I had the opportunity to make music with Matt a few years ago at Summer Institute, and his contributions to our faith speak to creativity and connection. Enjoy.
Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me away so that all that's left is love. Wash me, hallelujah, 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 all that's left, hallelujah, love. Wash me, hallelujah, 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 all that's left, hallelujah, love. Wash me, hallelujah, 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 all that's left, hallelujah, love. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Hallelujah. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Hallelujah. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Hallelujah. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Hallelujah. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence in the ocean. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in.
Our closing prayer comes from the Sufi mystic and poet, Rumi. Don't worry about saving these songs. It doesn't matter. We have fallen into the place where everything is music. The strumming and the flute notes rise into the atmosphere, and even if the whole world's harp should burn up, there will still be hidden instruments playing. So the candle flickers and goes out. We have a piece of flint and a spark. The singing art is sea foam. The graceful movements come from a pearl somewhere on the ocean floor. Poems reach up like spindrift, and the edge of driftwood along the beach, wanting. They derive from a slow and powerful root that we can't see. Stop the words now. Open the window in the center of your chest and let the spirit fly in and out. Thank you for joining us in worship today. Please see the credits at the end of this service for information about the music and other worship elements. And do take a moment to visit our website, uuamherst.org, and click on the giving link, or text your gift to 833-987-1968. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Travel light and travel easy, till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. Life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. Amen.